Hello 80s, we're back. Hi guys, welcome back to April After Dark. Tonight I wanted to talk about one of my very favorite old childhood toys, and yes, it is a doll, but I'm not talking about my doll. I'm talking about the popular dolls that came out. I think they originated in the 70s, and then they really peaked at their height of popularity in 1983 to be exact. Yes, I am talking about Cabbage Patch dolls. I did have one of my own. They were really hard to get a hold of. They pretty much all had this face for the most part. And then a lot of them were bigger than this one. This one is just, you know, she's just like a little felt doll, but a lot of them, you know, they had shoes on, they were standing, they had like a birth certificate with them. And might I mention that there were stampedes of people, parents, in these stores during Christmas with like bloodied up like shins and fighting and yelling, all to get these Cabbage Patch dolls for their kids. It was that crazy. It was that maniacal, which I guess it's not that too hard to, you know, understand or believe now, just because of the craziness that hits stores during Black Friday sales. I always wanted to make a movie called Black Friday and make it about Black Friday. There were storybooks, music tapes, Christmas specials, all about these Cabbage Patch dolls, which just enticed kids even more to have this need to adopt these kids. They were born in Cabbage Patches, not like your normal kid. They were born in these little Cabbage Patches, these little creatures that look like bunny rabbits, so like a bumblebee, were like flying around, and they were actually called bunny bees, and they dropped these purple magical crystals on the Cabbage Patch, and then lo and behold, Cabbage Patch be born. And then basically the kid is thrust into the world with no parents, with only the hopes of being adopted by one lucky kid whose parents are willing to go through the stampede of crazy riots to get hold of one. These kids need to be adopted fast, because if they aren't, they will be sold into slavery by the evil lady, Lavender McDade. Lavender is an entrepreneur who wants to get these Cabbage Patch kids to have them be sold into slavery for her. Lavender even had a really goofy song for the Cabbage Patch Kids, and I will link the video to this song in the description box below. And it reads like this: "I've got to stop those Cabbage Patch Kids from finding parents of their own. I'm going to need some henchmen. I can't do it all alone, 'cause there's gold here in the valley and the kids cannot go free. I need their little fingers to dig the gold for me." Who wants their doll sold into slavery? No one did. Everybody wanted these dolls. You had this need that you had to get them because Lavender McDade would get them. That's what you thought when you were a kid anyway. As a parent, you knew you had to get these toys because everybody was having these mini riots at all these stores. You might be wondering, why is she talking about a Cabbage Patch doll? What is creepy or scary about that? I hope you guys enjoyed my video from last summer about the Poltergeist curse. I will link that also in the description box below. I basically go over all the information that I can find on the Poltergeist curse, and this was around the time that the remake came out. As a matter of fact, last night I happened to be going over to a couple of friends of mine's house and just went over there to hang out just for a little while, and they had Poltergeist on, the remake, and they were in hopes thinking it was going to be the original, because the original kicks the remake's butt, in my opinion. Anyway, you guys all remember the beautiful, cute, shy, but super sweet little girl, Heather O'Rourke, the girl that sat in front of the TV saying, "They're here." you know what happened to her. She winds up dying of some crazy disease at a very young age of 12 years old. So Heather O'Rourke had about 18 Cabbage Patch dolls in her bedroom when she was alive. She had a hot pink telephone. She was very into the 80s style of clothing. She was very cute, very sweet, like I said before. Well, there was a doll that wound up on eBay, of course, and it was a haunted Cabbage Patch doll. It was Heather O'Rourke's Cabbage Patch doll that she had during her last days alive. There's many crazed fans out there that love the Poltergeist films like myself, but fans that went as far as to find the doll on eBay that was Heather O'Rourke's doll and thought, oh my gosh, this is the ultimate gift to have. This is the ultimate horror fan thing from Poltergeist. So they bid on it, and the wife texted her husband, because it's a couple that I'm talking about, and she texted him, how much would you be willing to pay to get the original Heather O'Rourke's Cabbage Patch doll? And her husband said, whatever. He has, Poltergeist tattooed on him, the scene with Heather O'Rourke sitting in front of the television screen, that very iconic image, and he has that tattooed on himself, so of course he's like anything. So she winds up getting it for $100 off of eBay. They were extremely, extremely excited. Like, I would be going out of my mind if I got that, but not if this is what wouldn't happen. I will link information in the description box below on information about this haunted doll that this couple still have that used to belong to Heather O'Rourke. The doll arrived at their house after they bid and got this doll for $100. It arrived October 30th, and their anniversary is November 1st. Now, all this I'm gonna have to read off from this article that I have that I will link in the description box below, like I said earlier, because there is just so much information on here that there's no way I can memorize any of it. And this is being said from the husband's point of view. He wrote this email to a paranormal investigator to get their help with cleansing the doll's spirit. While in Reno, we got a call that my wife's stepbrother had been in a terrible accident while playing soccer. He ended up with a ruptured spleen and broken ribs. Due to internal bleeding, he was hospitalized for 5 days. 3 days later, my father-in-law became ill. Within 2 days, he was in a coma. He was diagnosed with encephalitis. He remained in a coma for 5 to 6 days, and we almost lost him. Miraculously, he woke up and was released after a 9-day stint. He is still in rehab for brain damage. We thought we could be back to our lives after a very trying few weeks. On December 2nd, my wife found out her childhood friend John had committed suicide by gunshot. December 8th, our good friend Dawn died of heart failure. She was 33 years old. Shortly after, my mother was having agonizing pain in her hip. She ended up having surgery. On January 7th, my wife's Uncle Jeff, not a blood relative, he was her best friend's father who took my wife in on more than one occasion as a child, passed away from a heart attack. He had no known medical conditions at the time of this. January 26th, my wife was hospitalized for the night with a rare intestinal infection. The end of January, I left my job for a new company. On February 12th, I was let go. February 14th, Valentine's Day, we had to put our dear dog Zeus down. Early March, our 4-year-old Pomeranian lost a tooth. Shortly after, my wife was told something was wrong with her heart and they suspended her driver's license. She had to wear a heart monitor for 24 hours twice, and they still don't know what is wrong. On March 27th, due to an error, Kern County Child Support levied my account right before a bunch of debit purchases and auto drafts cleared. This left us with a negative account balance of almost $2,000. My car broke down 2 days prior to this. Last week, the doctors notified my mother that her surgery not only failed, but she had a fracture in her hip. She had a hip replacement April 8th. On top of all this, my wife and I have not gotten along. There is constant tension in the air, and the topic of divorce has come up more than once. This is how our life has been the past 5.5 months. We are really looking forward to meeting you and hope we can find a resolution. P.S. Also, on March 27th, my wife's stepdad became ill. His face was swollen, he was nauseous and urinating blood, most likely from a spider bite. Today, we found out our little dog has, and I'm not sure how to pronounce this, Giardia. Since the main focus was the cleansing, I did not do a full-on investigation. I merely tried 5 quick and dirty EVP attempts around the doll just to see if there were any demonic force attached to the doll. No EVPs were recorded. The curse most likely was a projected curse from someone close to Heather O'Rourke. Deanna conducted her metaphysical saging cleansing, and afterwards I conducted a Roman Catholic blessing of the doll using holy water. Before the cleansing, I had felt dizziness. I have also felt nauseated. Perhaps the curse was trying to keep me away. I will be in touch with the owners of this doll to see if the blessing/cleansing worked. Deanna detected 1 ghost in the house. The family collect old collectibles that may have a spirit attachment. Deanna detects possibly 1 benevolent spirit in the home. So this is all information, and supposedly the doll did get cleansed, and they do still own the haunted Cabbage Patch doll, or I should say cursed. It's more like a cursed object that belongs to Heather O'Rourke. They just keep her in a glass case in the house, and it's blessed, is what they say, and supposedly they haven't had any other problems. I know that was a long mouthful to get through. It was for me anyway, and it's just crazy because what does it all sound like to you? Because to me, it all sounds like very similar things that did happen to the Poltergeist franchise curse, with all the weird, mysterious illnesses and deaths and just odd goings-on that happened. So, my question to you guys is, what do you think? Do you think that the Cabbage Patch doll that belonged to Heather O'Rourke was cursed? Do you think that someone cursed the doll, projecting it onto Heather O'Rourke, since she died at the age of 12 years old? And she was involved in the Poltergeist films, all 3 of them. It's just crazy. I mean, a Cabbage Patch doll. I don't know. I mean, I don't know, dudes. What do you guys think? I love the films, the Poltergeist films. I do obviously have a Cabbage Patch doll of my own. I do have another one, but I don't know where she's at. Let me know if you remember any of the Cabbage Patch dolls, and if you still have their birth certificates and everything else, and let me know what you guys think about this. Do you think it's a cursed doll? Alright, I will leave you guys with that thought, and let me know if you enjoyed this video by giving me a thumbs up. I will see all of you in my next video. As always, happy haunting, stay scared, and have a very creepy night. Bye.